If you had 1 hour to decide, would you save your wife, your mother, or $90 million? You can only stop one disaster. The other two will happen. And whatever you choose won't just change your life. It will reveal who you really are. The phone rang at 11:47 p.m. Marcus Hale sat at his kitchen table in their Lincoln Park apartment, his laptop screen casting blue light across scattered bills. Emily was already asleep. The rent was due. His mother's medical bills from Lagos sat in his email inbox, marked urgent for the third time. He answered without checking the number. The voice on the other end spoke with the measured calm of someone reading from a script they had perfected. You work in structured finance at Davenport Capital. Your department approves cross-border infrastructure investments. Tomorrow morning at 8:15, a wire transfer request will arrive in your queue. $90 million. The documentation will be flawless. You will see nothing wrong with it. Marcus stood up. His chair scraped against the hardwood floor. The voice continued without pause. If you approve it, the money will move through 3 jurisdictions in under 6 hours. By noon, it will exist only in fragments. One of those fragments will become accessible to you through a Cayman entity established in your name last month. You will never be directly connected to it. The amount available to you will be $4 million. Marcus walked to the window. Chicago stretched out below him, lights scattered across the grid like dropped change. His reflection stared back at him from the glass, a 32-year-old man who left Nigeria at 19. Who worked 80-hour weeks to build something his mother could point to with pride, who married a woman who loved him despite the weight he carried. The voice had not asked a question yet, but there is a structure you need to understand. 3 events are scheduled to occur tomorrow. You will have the capacity to prevent only one. The mathematics of distance will prevent you from preventing more than one. This is not a threat. This is an explanation of geometry. Marcus pressed his palm against the cold glass. The first event. Your wife Emily leaves for work at 7:30 a.m. She takes the Brown line from Sedgwick. At 8:02 a.m., there will be an incident at the Merchandise Mart station. The nature of the incident will ensure she does not survive it. Preventing this requires your physical presence and immediate action. You would need to keep her from boarding that train. The second event. Your mother, Ngozi Hale, lives in the Surulere neighborhood of Lagos. At 2 p.m. Lagos time, which is 8 a.m. Chicago time, there will be a raid on her street. The raid is political. The target is her neighbor. But the violence will not respect property lines. Preventing this requires you to make a series of phone calls to people in Nigeria who can redirect the operation. This will take time. It will take focus. It will take you away from anything happening here. The third event. The money I described. It will either be secured or destroyed based on whether you approve the transfer. If you do nothing, if you simply fail to show up to work or fail to process the request, the money will be frozen and investigated. Everyone connected to it will be exposed. This includes you. The entity established in your name will be discovered. Your career will end. Your legal problems will begin. Marcus turned away from the window. His reflection disappeared. The voice paused for the first time. You are thinking about calling the police. You are thinking this is a bluff. You are thinking you can save everyone. Let me be clear. The police cannot help you across 2 continents. The FBI cannot move faster than tomorrow morning. And you do not have the resources to protect 2 people in 2 countries while also protecting yourself. Your problem is not morality. It is reach. The line went dead. Marcus stood in the kitchen for 20 minutes. His hands shook. He checked the caller ID number blocked. He checked his work email on his phone. Nothing yet. He walked into the bedroom where Emily slept, her breathing steady and soft. He watched her for a long time. Then he went back to the kitchen and opened his laptop. He searched for the Cayman entity. It existed, incorporated 4 weeks ago. His name nowhere on the public documents, but the structure was exactly as the voice described. He searched for news about Surulere. Nothing scheduled, nothing planned. But Lagos operated on systems he had left behind, systems where raids happened and nobody reported them until after. He called his mother. It rang 6 times before she answered, her voice thick with sleep. He told her he loved her, He told her to stay inside tomorrow. He told her not to ask why. She laughed, that warm sound he grew up hearing, and said she was fine, that he worried too much, that she would be careful. He hung up and sat in the dark. The geometry was already working. He could see it. Feel Emily near. Call his mother at midnight. But he could not be in two places. He could not stop two things. He could not reach across the ocean and pull his mother into safety while keeping his wife from walking out the door. He opened a new browser window and began researching flight times to Lagos. The earliest departure was 10 a.m. He would be in the air when his mother needed him. He searched for contacts in Lagos he still knew. 3 names. One worked in city government. One ran a security company. One was his uncle, who drank too much and made promises he never kept. At 3 a.m., Marcus finally understood what the voice meant. This was not about choosing between people. This was about revealing who he already was. At 6 a.m., Marcus sat at the same kitchen table, his laptop open, his phone in his hand. Emily stirred in the bedroom. He heard the shower start. His chest tightened. In 90 minutes, she would leave for work. In 90 minutes, he would need to decide if he was stopping her. He had not slept. His phone buzzed, a text from an unknown number. "You are still thinking you can solve this. You cannot. But I want you to understand why you cannot. I want you to understand yourself." Another message arrived. A photo. Marcus in college at Northwestern, standing outside the International Students' Office. He remembered that day. He had just found out his visa was approved for another year. He was smiling. Another photo. Marcus and Emily on their wedding day, small ceremony in Grant Park, only 12 people present. His mother could not afford the flight. He sent her photos afterward. Another photo. His mother outside her house in Lagos. Recent, taken from across the street. The text came again. "We studied you for 8 months. You send money to Lagos every month. You lie to your wife about how much. You work late because you are afraid of being replaced. You are loyal to blood, emotional with love, cautious with power. We built this situation for someone exactly like you." Marcus typed back, "Who are you?" The response was immediate. "That does not matter. What matters is that you are predictable. You left Nigeria because you wanted to succeed. You married Emily because you wanted to feel American. You send money home because you feel guilty. These are not criticisms. These are facts, and facts are what determine geometry." Emily came out of the bedroom, already dressed in her grey work suit. She poured coffee. She kissed the top of his head as she passed. She asked if he slept at all. He said no. She said he needed to stop working so late. He nodded. She grabbed her bag. She checked her phone. She said she would see him tonight. He watched her walk toward the door. He opened his mouth. Nothing came out. She left. The apartment door clicked shut. The sound echoed. Marcus stared at the space where she had been standing. His phone buzzed. "You chose already. You let her go. Now you have until 8 a.m. to choose again. Will you protect your mother, or will you go to work and protect yourself?" Marcus stood. He grabbed his laptop. He called the contact in Lagos who worked in city government. The man answered after 5 rings, groggy, annoyed. Marcus explained quickly. There would be a raid. Surulere, his mother's street. Could he do anything? The man laughed. "Do you know how many raids happen in Lagos?" "Do you know how things work here anymore?" Marcus insisted. The man said he would make calls but promised nothing. Marcus called the security company contact. No answer. He left a message. He called his uncle. Drunk already. Useless. He sent money through Western Union to a local contact who could hire private security. The transfer would take 40 minutes to process. It was 7:15 a.m. in Chicago, 1:15 p.m. in Lagos. He had 45 minutes. His work phone buzzed. A calendar reminder. Morning review meeting at 8:30 a.m. The wire transfer would be in the queue by then. He looked at Emily's coffee cup on the counter. Still warm. Another text arrived. "You are doing exactly what we expected. You are fighting for your mother. You are abandoning your wife. You are ignoring the money because you think you are a good person. But you are not making choices. You are revealing who you already are." Marcus threw his phone across the room. It hit the wall and clattered to the floor. He sat down, he put his head in his hands. The caller had been right. This was not about morality, it was about reach. It was about the fact that Marcus Hale was one person in one place, and the people he loved were scattered across the world like seeds thrown into wind. He picked up his phone. The screen was cracked, but it still worked. He opened the transit app, the Brown line. He could still catch Emily. The Merchandise Mart station was 12 minutes away by car. If he left now, if he drove recklessly, if he ran through the station, he could find her. He could pull her off the train. He could keep her safe. But it was 7:35 a.m. in Chicago, 1:35 p.m. in Lagos. If he left now, he could not make the calls. He could not coordinate the protection. He could not stop the raid. He stared at the screen. The train line blinked with its scheduled stops. He closed the app. He called Lagos again. The city government contact called back at 7:52 a.m. He had talked to someone who knew someone. The raid was real. Political cleanup after an election dispute. The target was a former council member who lived 3 houses down from Marcus's mother. The operation was scheduled for 2 p.m. It would be fast and brutal, but the contact had convinced a deputy to delay the raid by 15 minutes and redirect it to a different block first. 15 minutes, a different block. It might be enough. Marcus sent more money. He called his mother again. She did not answer. He called her neighbor. The neighbor said Ngozi was at the market. Marcus told the neighbor to find her, to bring her inside, to lock the doors. It was 8 a.m. in Chicago. His work phone rang, his supervisor, asking where he was. The morning meeting was starting. Marcus told him he would be late. The supervisor asked if everything was okay. Marcus said yes. The lie came easily. He hung up. He opened his laptop. He logged into the transit system's live map. The Brown Line train Emily was on was approaching Merchandise Mart. He could still go. He could still run. His phone buzzed. The security company called back. They could send 2 men to his mother's street. It would cost extra. It would take 20 minutes. Marcus authorized it. He gave them the address. It was 8:02 a.m. in Chicago. The train arrived at Merchandise Mart station. Marcus watched the live map. The little icon blinked. Stopped, waiting. His hands gripped the edge of the table. The icon moved again. The train left the station. His phone buzzed. A news alert. Incident at Merchandise Mart. Brown Line service delayed. Injuries reported. Marcus stopped breathing. He called Emily. It rang. It rang. It rang. Voicemail. He called again. Same. He opened Twitter. He searched Merchandise Mart. A dozen posts. Photos of paramedics. Someone said there was an explosion. Someone said it was a fight. Someone said a woman fell onto the tracks. Marcus stood. His chair fell backward. He called Emily's work. They had not heard from her. He called the hospital. They could not give him information over the phone. He grabbed his keys. He ran for the door. His laptop screen glowed behind him, forgotten. The wire transfer request sat in his queue, unprocessed. By the time Marcus reached the hospital, it was 9:30 a.m. By the time they confirmed Emily's identity, it was 10:15 a.m. By the time they told him she died instantly, it was 11 a.m. By the time he remembered his mother, it was 11:47 a.m. He called Lagos. His mother answered. She was crying, but she was alive. The raid had come. The violence had been terrible, but the security company men had been there. They moved her to a back room. They kept her safe. Her neighbor was dead. Her street was destroyed, but she was alive. Marcus sat in the hospital waiting room and said nothing. His mother asked him how he knew. How he knew to send help. How he knew to call. He told her he loved her. He told her he would call tomorrow. He hung up. His work phone had 37 missed calls. The wire transfer had been flagged. The fraud department had frozen it. The investigation had already started. Marcus's name appeared in the entity documents. The connection was made. 2 weeks later, Marcus sat in a lawyer's office while they explained what would happen next. The criminal charges, the civil suits, the fact that he would never work in finance again. 3 weeks later, his mother called and told him she was praying for him, that she knew he did not do what they said he did, that she loved him. 4 weeks later, Marcus received a final text from the unknown number. You chose who you were before you ever chose who to save. You left Nigeria because you wanted distance from responsibility. You married Emily because you wanted someone who did not know your guilt. You sent money home because you could not send yourself. When forced to choose, you reached for what you have always reached for. The wound that shaped you, not the life you built. You are not a bad man. You are a man who knows where he comes from. That knowledge is what destroyed you. Marcus deleted the message. He sat in his empty apartment in Lincoln Park, the city lights spreading below him, unchanged and indifferent, and understood that the caller had been right about one thing. This was never about morality. It was about the geometry of distance. The mathematics of a life lived between two worlds, stretched so thin that when the pressure came, something had to break. He had saved his mother because his mother was the reason he left. He had lost his wife because his wife was the reason he stayed. And the money, the $4 million that never reached him, had been nothing but the measure of what a man was worth when forced to prove it. Marcus closed his eyes. The geometry held, the distance remained, and he was alone in the space between, having chosen the only thing he ever could, the ghost of who he used to be over the person he tried to become. In Lagos, his mother lit a candle for his wife and said prayers in Igbo for the daughter-in-law she never met. In Chicago, Marcus packed boxes and prepared to leave the apartment he could no longer afford. And somewhere, in an office or a basement or a country he would never know, someone closed a file labeled Marcus Hale and marked it complete, one more data point in a system that measured exactly how far a human being could reach before their arms gave out.